I want to talk about war being treated like it's just a plaything, like a play game, like a computer game. I want to talk about that because in the face of really dire circumstances, we see people in positions of leadership that have no business being in positions of leadership treating what's going on with human lives and with our troops as though it's a computer game. Now, I've never played war games on the computer. Maybe you all have, but war games on the computer were never my thing. We have in the White House an illegitimate POTUS who treats everything like a contest. And from all appearances and all of our experiences, has no regard for human life except himself. Hi, grassroots heroes. I like it, Jackie. He has no regard for human life except his own life. And he's got people that work in his cabinet that have no regard for human life unless it's their lives. Whether they were born that way or whether they became that way, we know a lot of them used to be different, and then they seem to have lost their minds and erred on the side of let's have no regard for human life except our own. So when we look at any kind of thing that happens in America where a Democrat does something that's good, he has to put himself in a side by side, and then he has to go through all this mental process about that person can't upstage me. I have to be the one in the limelight. I have to be the one that feels most important. So he will bash that person, bash that situation, come up with every single negative name calling in the book, and then some. And he'll make sure that he has the last word because to him, everything is a contest. And nobody can argue with me on that and win because you know that it's true, right? It's absolutely 100% true. We've seen 10 years of this. He could not even let Joe Biden be president. And you notice that everything that's bad about this country right now, they have all those regime members have an autopilot. It's Joe Biden's fault. It's Joe Biden's fault. It's Joe Biden's fault, right? Because they're wonderful. Trump cannot self-reflect. It's not possible. A malignant narcissist does not ever self-reflect. I counsel a lot of people, and I've counseled really hundreds, maybe even more than that, thousands of people through the years. And I've learned a lot about narcissism from people who have been subjected to the torment of being around a narcissist and not understanding what's going on. And what I constantly say is understand that therapy won't work and that if you're expecting an apology, you'll wait 25 lifetimes before that'll ever happen. In other words, that will never happen. A malignant narcissist needs to bash you in order to feel relevant. It's one of the most nefarious, insidious, toughest personality disorders to deal with. It is one of the toughest. And part of the reason for that is there's no cure for narcissism. Because to have a cure for a psychological disorder, the person that has the psychological disorder has to recognize, oh, look, I have a psychological disorder and seek help. Like somebody who has personality disorders or who is manic, right? Somebody who has depression, it's like it takes looking at oneself and going, something's askew here. And I think upon self-reflection, I might want to do something about it and get some help. You think you're having Wi-Fi's problems? Hang on 1 second. Let me change something. I'm still here. I just want to change my Wi-Fi source. Okay. See if that see if that helps. I don't know why my internet connection has been unstable, but do let me know. I think there's a lot of people online at this time. So in the face, and do keep me posted about it. I want to know. It's worse. Okay, let me just wait a few minutes because it might clear up. And I'm not, apparently that's not the problem. Hang on. I have plenty of bars. Can you hear me? Because I noticed my last video was wonky, all pixelated and everything. Who knows what's going on out there in the internet realm? Better? Okay. Sometimes it just clears up. Okay. Thank you. So, understanding that the personality disorder that we're dealing with is one that cannot be cured. And it includes that when that person with the disorder is feeling threatened, they ramp up their bad behavior because they thrive on attention. And you've heard the saying, any attention is good attention. So if the positive attention doesn't come, then the negative attention will get everyone to pay attention, right? So he considers everything a contest. His father, Fred Trump, programmed him to never, ever, ever admit defeat. He has to be a winner. He can never be a loser. What we resist persists. Trump has spent his whole life in an effort to not be considered a loser. What you resist persists. And also, Fred Trump taught him to be a killer. Taught him, like, that word is, that's a good word. So this is out of Mary Trump's book. So you're probably aware, for example, that he loves wrestling. He loves, just recently there was an AI generated video that he put up there on Truth Social or wherever he's posting. I don't care. I don't know, but I did see the video. And it was him, like as a hockey player, if you can, that's not even believable, but as a hockey player playing against the Canadians and getting into a fist fight with the fake Canadian hockey players. And that was after, obviously, after the United States won the Olympics and the hockey match. So he's repeatedly shown AI generated videos of him being tough. I mean, I do remember this has been going on for some time now. I think he might have, if I remember correctly, there might have been one of him beating up Biden, but correct me if I'm wrong. He has to depict this like tough guy. And the plan is his we won't talk about whether this is going to happen. But we know that there's a plan to have a wrestling match at the White House. The plan is to build a stage and to see, I don't know, 150,000 people or something crazy for a wrestling match on July 4th on the 250th year anniversary of the birth of our nation. Because he has to show everybody how tough he is. If somebody has to show you how tough they are, what's going on inside is they feel weak. present day, he's feeling weakened by the Epstein files. He's feeling extremely vulnerable. This is a pattern. We know it well. And the more that comes out, the more freaked out he's going to get. And he is completely succeeding in his personal mission to get everybody to talk about something else, to get the entire world freaked out. Remember Greenland? To get everybody freaked out and everybody completely distracted. If the little distractions don't work, he goes for the huge UFC match. Nothing like oiled up men in Speedos to claim your masculinity. Yes. So he picks the hugest thing because that's how hugely he is really angry about the Epstein files that he's been trying to cover up for a good many years now. And now that the files are everywhere and they've already brought in the Clintons for a hearing to answer questions, they've already done all that, right? We know his name is in there. We're getting more and more accounts of what happened. We're more and more horrified. So as horrifying as it is, he has to do something that he considers is going to be very, very horrifying. So he attacks Iran in the middle of the night. And the world wakes up to WTFing is going on. We should have never, I mean, it kind of goes without saying, but we should have never messed with Iran. That is not a not strong country. Iran has had a history of being attacked. When a country has a history of being attacked, I think of Sicily. I'm half Sicilian. I think about the general vibe of a Sicilian. I'm speaking in really general terms. Feisty fighters, verbally. The people of Iran are tough, and they're fighters. So Trump goes in there, knows nothing about the military, anything. He didn't serve in the military. He was too chicken shit. So he said that he got a doctor, like rich people could do, to sign off that he had bone spurs. Nobody asked if he had real bone spurs. Did we ever ask for the x-rays? Did we ever ask for the proof? Do we get proof of anything that he lies about? No. But he can feel really like a big man, and Keg's breath is the same way. Your granddaughter is part Sicilian. Yeah, it's in the DNA. Sicily was attacked for like thousands of years. It's a vulnerable island, right? And so it is. It's in the bloodstream. Believe me, I've had to deal with it my whole life, just being half Sicilian. Just knowing that that's the way it is. It's just the way it is. So Keg's breath has a serious complex around his masculinity, obviously. And Trump is getting us into this very, very dangerous place. And here we are. I just actually, a few minutes ago, I caught, it was about a 10-minute speech, kind of a eulogy, but a speech that Kamala Harris was giving at Reverend Jesse Jackson's funeral today. He should have been able to lay in state, but, MAGA Mike didn't want that. Because they have to be the ones that are all, being looked at, and not Reverend Jesse Jackson because he was black. Let's just be frank. That's how they think. And he was for democracy and equality. Oh, we can't have that. So treating it like it's a game, like it's a war game, Trump is like, oh, well, we got him. Remember Soleimani? Oh, we got him. He was like a dog. We got him like a dog. So now it's like, we got Khomeini. We got the other guys. The son is in line to take over the government there. So we accomplished nothing, much like Venezuela. He went in and got Maduro, which, there's a lot of raised eyebrows around what that was all about. Now that we find that the oil tankers that he sent the military in to behave like that was piracy. Sent the military in to board Venezuelan oil tankers. Thought he was real tough, going and getting Maduro. I think they're buddies. I think that whole thing was staged, but that's just my impression. Does all that. That distract us from the Epstein files. Then he attacks Iran. The stupidest thing possible because he has to look like a winner. He has to look like a winner. And now he's looking like a loser. So what's he calling for now? I don't have the official news. But what's being discussed in an already smoldering cauldron of horrific death and destruction and war? He's talking about sending in our troops, boots on the ground. The whole thing that's going on is absolute, unspeakably chaotic. They can't even agree on saying whether it's a war or not. The Iranians, as heinous as that government was and as horrible as they are to their people, here's what we know. They actually were sitting down for negotiations. I didn't put a lot of hope in that with Kushner and Witkoff, two total criminals. But they were talking about it. And Kushner and Witkoff, the losers, walked away and everything was kind of good, kind of hanging tight, right? 82nd Airborne is on alert. Okay, because Trump needs the attention. Okay, this is what this is about. And all of a sudden, Iran was just sitting there. Trump is like, I need a distraction, right? Don't you think that's what it is? I need a distraction. They keep talking about Epstein. So, before I continue, I would like to have a moment of silence to think about the children that were killed by the United States of America, the devastated families. So let's have a moment of silence for the Iranian children and their families. Thank you. Because we are human. And we don't look at this as a war game on a computer. And for the troops, we did a moment of silence. Let's keep on thinking about those that we lost already. They think of it as a game. We are human beings. So anyway, I saw Kamala Harris giving a talk at Reverend Jesse Jackson's funeral. And it was so refreshing to hear her. It's so refreshing. It's not even asking for much. It's just, a sane person doing a sane thing. Talking about how she remembered Reverend Jesse Jackson, told a couple little stories, made the people laugh a little bit. Dignified, of course. Respectful, intelligent, and freaking sane. Oh, Harris and Jackson's daughter were friends as kids. That's so sweet. She's eloquent. She's distinguished. She's thoughtful. She's loving and kind. And what did Trump do when she was on the campaign trail? Kept calling her low IQ and probably something about being too emotional. I called 25 representatives today. I really did. Remember I promised you that I would? And I said, get back to me and let me know how many. You appreciate remembering? Yeah, what normal is? We need a lot more of that. Michelle, thank you for sending me the list because I was going to go do the research and look it up, and you made it a lot easier for me. Michelle sent me with mugshots and everything. All the Republican senators that voted to not rein in Trump's war powers. And I read them the Riot Act. Most of them I left messages for. And I said, this is not a Republican, MAGA, Democrat thing. This is about my family, your community, this country. This is about the United States of America. What are you thinking? We're in danger. We are at great risk of being attacked right now. What are you doing? Voting to not rein in his war powers. You got through 7? Yeah, I'm going to read you the names of those that I contacted today. Marsha Blackburn, MAGA Mike got disconnected on that one. Lindsey Graham, Ron Johnson, Chuck Grassley, Susan Collins, Joni Ernst, Jim Banks, John Barresso, John Boozman, it's an interesting name, Katie Britt, Bill Cassidy, Tom Cotton, Josh Hawley, John Kennedy in Louisiana, Ted Budd, Shelley Moore Capito, John Cornyn, Kevin Kramer, Bill Haggerty, Ted Cruz, Jim Justice, Deb Fisher, John Curtis, Cindy Hyde Smith. I had to do it because I told you I would do it. So I'm going to throw it out there. I know tomorrow's Saturday. I don't know if you can get through and leave a message on the weekends, but if you cannot, I'm throwing it out there again. I challenge us to continue to make these calls. Because what's happening is they're treating it like it's a computer game too. And I'm not sure what it's going to take. We can look into that a little bit more. We can do a deep dive into that maybe on a future Substack. I'm not sure what it's going to take to get them to be shaken out of their fog. But one indicator that they're in a fog is the display of Christian nationalism that we have been seeing. And a lot of those names that I just named claim to be Christians. Katie Britt pops into my mind. Jackie's taking on the challenge. Good. Call as many representatives as you can if you need to reach me to get the list that Michelle sent. AnnetteDion7@gmail.com. I'm mortified. You're mortified. What are they doing approving more war? Trump today, deranged Trump today, when asked about how this could affect the American people, might we be in danger? And he treats it like I said earlier. They don't look at human beings. They look at this is a game. Yeah, that might happen. Yeah, we might be hit in our homeland. Like, I don't know whatever happened to reassure the people and let them know that there's going to be some semblance of safety, an insurance safety. He does not care. And he's getting ready to send our troops into it might as well be a death march, right? Asking Zelensky for help because our military is not trained on drones. Like the Ukrainians have going on 5 years of experience now with drones, but our military does not. And then mock Zelensky after Zelensky said, okay, we'll help you, right? What that requires is help back. He didn't even ask. For Trump, we can expect the worst possible decisions to be made. Yeah, we can expect that. That's a given. When a crisis arises, expect him to go fishing for the worst possible scenario, because the worst possible scenario gets him the most possible attention. And make no mistake, he doesn't think about consequences. He never has. He never will. He's never been held accountable for any of the ginormous crimes that he's committed against other people and against this entire nation, and now against the world. Because what we now have in our White House is a bona fide war criminal working with another war criminal, Netanyahu, who needs to be imprisoned, the both of them. He'd take the whole country out. Yes, Trump would take the whole country out. Because if he's going down, the malignant narcissist that he is, that personality disorder says, if I'm going down, you all are going down too. And there have been death threats from Iran, assassination threats from the Iranian regime for several years now. So he might be getting scared, and he might be what I just said. If I'm going down, then you're all coming with me. All that matters to him is that he feels powerful at our expense, quite literally. And do you know how much he has attempted to distract the American people from I'm just going to say it, I've been saying it, from the bankruptcy that he's putting us into? The more we're looking at that, the more he's going to act out. But these Republican senators and Fetterman, I don't know what happened to his brain, but anyway, we'll leave that alone for right now. They must not understand what we're dealing with here. They must not get that he's going to get really more enraged, and when we start losing and the economy is crashing and nothing's going his way, that's the most opportune time for him to do the most vile thing possible. And these Republicans are like, yeah, I don't think that they see it. Because I think that if they pulled their heads out of there, you know what, that they would go, what are we doing? I'll wrap up with this topic. We got word yesterday that according to some of our troops, there's a general or two talking to the troops. I don't know if Keg's Breath is doing this. I'll have to look into it. And saying that this is God's war. That what we have right now. Trump said he could destroy the country. Are you talking about the United States? What we have now is a group of radicals, a significant group of radicals, that are basically, I don't know, maybe I was talking about the Dark Ages yesterday, maybe they're from the time of the Christian Crusades. They time traveled. A general telling the troops that this is a holy war. And we saw Trump today in the Oval Office with a crowd of Christian nationalists around him, praying for him, and they still think that God appointed him. How do you tell a fake Christian from a real Christian? A fake Christian will watch or participate in the utmost despicable cruelty inflicted on other human beings and justify it and say they deserved it. And oh my God, they're from a different country, so we have to torment them and capture them. That's a fake Christian. Hello? Did we ever associate Trump with like going to church? I mean, we know Joe Biden went to church every day. He went to Catholic Mass. He would do this thing sometimes, like when the situation looked kind of dire, he would do that. If you're Catholic, you kind of grew up with that. And they're praying over Trump, which would comfort me maybe a smidgen if I felt like they were real. Caroline Levitt gets up there and all the rest of them. This the Katie McEnany. This has been going on for a long time. And they all have their little crosses on their necks. On faux news too. As they're lying and destroying this country with what they're saying. I'm not remembering. I mean, I really know a lot about religion and Christianity and, the life of Christ. I don't recall Christ ever saying that, lying and hurting people is a way to be a good Christian. So we're really in a pickle. We're really in a tough place. And I think that it would behoove us to watch things that are sane, to remember people that were sane, that were in positions of leadership in this country. Last night I came across here on Substack a video. Maybe you saw it. I think I did share it. I restacked it. And it was video clips of Obama when he was in office, like up until present day too. It was just, he's so funny and fun and loving and genuine and just really, really, really authentic. Really good person. And that's why Obama gets on Trump's nerves so much. Jesus would have been a liberal. Jesus was for justice. And, just being a good person. You don't even have to be religious. Just being a good person. These people are heinous. And now we're in a war that apparently is a holy war. So we better, if you pray, you better be praying, right? Like, because we need genuine prayers, right? We need genuine that, whatever you do. Even if we just get quiet, at least we're contributing to peace. Yeah, go on YouTube and watch old speeches of 20th century presidents. I have done that. Yeah, it's remarkable. So that's my prescription for us, because we have to remember what normal is. Fascism needs us to forget what normal is. Fascism needs us to just accept that this is the way it's going to be from now on, right? Fascism wants us to just believe you used to have power, but you have no power anymore. You have to listen to us. And we're like, we're not sinking to the bottom of that slime barrel that doesn't even have a bottom. Why would we? We're normal. You're a freak show. You've bankrupted our country on purpose. So let's focus on the good people. Let's make the calls. I think you probably do have to wait till Monday. It took me a while. It was a lot of work to call 25 Senate Republicans who had voted to continue or not rein in his war powers. I'll do it again on Monday. Yesterday, I couldn't get through at all. I couldn't get through to Congress at all because the lines are jammed. Only we, the people, can turn this around. So we have to hang together. So let's do that. I'll be back tomorrow, probably 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern. And I want to thank you so much for joining me. If this message was helpful, please restack it. Thumbs up, hype, and I'll see you very soon. Okay? And I like to say, namaste. Be good to yourselves. Do lots of self-care. It's important. Keep the faith.